Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order. Now, I know last week I said there might not be a Tuesday video for this week, but guess what? There is. There's not really too much to mention, but I just want to let you know a little bit of the schedule that's coming up for the next week here. So this is just a brief little update video. I'm going to mention a few new things that have been announced for the World of Pokemon. But tomorrow is the big day. That's when the new Ancient Origins expansion comes out in North America. And my plan is, as long as time permits, I'm going to pick up the 2 theme decks that come out with this expansion, and I'm going to do an unboxing video of those tomorrow. And I'm hoping to get a play test of the 2 decks against each other as well for a theme deck showdown. So, again, time permitting, watch for 2 new TCG videos tomorrow I should say. And I'm not going to have an online TCG match for this week. I'm going to take that by the wayside for the time being, because the match video is going to be the 2 theme decks against each other. Now, following that will be on Thursday, another video game match using Pokemon X. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, and I'll discuss that in the video on Thursday, and let you know why it's a challenge. And the following week is going to be a Tuesday video update like we've usually been doing. It's going to be an in the lab strategy video discussing all the new highlighted cards from the Ancient Origins expansion, things to get you thinking about strategies and how to put these new cards into your decks. That Wednesday is going to be another TCG match, but it's going to be a theme deck fusion, which I did with the Primal Clash and Roaring Skies theme decks, taking the 2 basic theme decks and making them into a more competitive style of theme deck. And I'm going to do that and combat it against the Roaring Skies fusion deck that I made. That Thursday is going to be another video game match using some of my Pokemon X guys. And that weekend, following that Thursday, is going to be the World Championships in Boston, Massachusetts, down in the United States. Pokemon video game, Pokemon TCG, people from all over the world coming down head-to-head against each other to try and see who is the best in the world. Now, my plan is, throughout the weekend, I'm going to do as much as I can to watch the Twitch TV live stream and do some tweets about what is going on with the tournament, just to sort of keep people updated and stuff. Of course, you can just watch the stream yourself. I'll put a link down in the description as we get to the actual event itself. So the only things I'm going to really mention for this week as far as news go is I mentioned a few weeks ago, I think it was, there was a new online competition called Circle of Legends. Now this was a rotation battle format where you would only be able to use legendary Pokemon, including ones that were brought forward from earlier games using the Poké Transporter. Now I didn't actually compete in it, but I only have a few legends on my main team anyway. But the winners have been announced, and if you go to the Pokemon Global link, if you competed in this tournament, you can take a look and see where you rank among all the top players. So check out that. And a new breeding guide has been uploaded to Pokemon.com. So this is giving you some ins and outs about how to breed competitive Pokemon for your video game matches, showing how to try and pass down the proper natures that you want for your Pokemon, how to breed good IVs or individual strengths for your Pokemon, and how to get moves transferred to the baby Pokemon as well. Now I know there's a lot of other sites out there where people have already put up very comprehensive information about how to breed these kind of Pokemon for all the most battle-hardened trainers out there. So you probably already know a lot about this for those of you that are interested and have looked into it. But for any of you that don't know about breeding and how to make strong Pokemon right from the egg, go to Pokemon.com. There's a nice news article up there, gives you some information about that. Once Ancient Origins kind of slows down a little bit after the next couple of weeks, I'm going to see if I can put my own little breeding guide together that can help you guys come up with how to, create some very strong Pokemon from the start. I haven't gotten really into the breeding in that because, as I'll mention in the video game match later this week, it's breeding to get perfect Pokemon sort of takes away some of the life of the Pokemon, in my opinion. It breaks them down to just sheer numbers, which I understand they are. It's just like data in a video game, but I like a little bit more personality and stuff like that. So sometimes, you'll see in my video game matches, my Pokemon don't have the best nature to make use of their stats. I might have a physically offensive Pokemon who has a nature that lowers attack stat. But what I like to do is take the Pokemon that are given to me and just do the best with them and make them the best that they can possibly be. So I'm not that into the whole breeding thing, but I am interested in it, and I would like to learn more about it, and I think doing a video about that will help me learn more and be able to share more information. So probably in the next couple of weeks or so, maybe 3 or so weeks from now, I'll see if I can do a breeding guide for the time being, Pokemon.com has uploaded some information for all you aspiring breeders out there. And for those of you that play Pokemon Shuffle out there, there is a new stage that has appeared in the special stage. It's Mega Garchomp. And this is an online competition. What you do is you just play the round, and your score is going to get uploaded to a leaderboard. At the end of the competition, which ends on August 17th, everyone who is in certain rankings is going to get different kind of prizes. If you're in the top 18,000 players on the leaderboard, you will get Garchompite, which is the Mega Stone that you need to use to evolve Garchomp into Mega Garchomp in Pokemon Shuffle. And if you're in the top 5,000 overall, you'll get the Garchompite, plus you will also gain a Mega Speed Up item as well to use in your match. And if you don't quite make it into the top 18,000, you will still get something if you're ranked at least above 26,000, which is 2 attack power-up items. It's going to give you some more damage to inflict on your opponents in your stages in Pokemon Shuffle. Now, if you don't happen to win any of those, if you're below the 26,000 mark, just by competing, you're still going to gain a jewel. And these jewels, they're the kind of like in-game equivalency of actual funds. You can spend money from your Nintendo eShop account to buy these jewels. You can then exchange these jewels for extra hearts for your stages or extra coins to buy items. So even getting like one free jewel is like free money basically. So even if you don't stand a chance of winning, I still recommend give this Mega Garchomp stage a try. You'll at least gain a jewel, right? So that goes until August 17th, and if you don't currently have Garchomp in your game, it will appear in the 3rd round of the Pokemon Safari special stage, which also is running until August 17th. So get out there, grab a Garchomp, and see if you can get this Garchompite Mega Stone. So, all that being said, the next big thing I'm going to mention for this video is, as Ancient Origins is just 1 day away from release, a few new cards have been revealed, and this is where things get serious. Okay, I had seen a card mentioned online from like the Japanese set, and it was a card I was hoping that would never see an English release, but it is here, folks. Get ready for Mega Tyranitar. So what can be said about Tyranitar-EX here? Well, it's a Dark type, 180 HP. The attacks are somewhat kind of basic for an EX Pokemon. For a Dark and 2 colorless, Hammering does a basic 60 damage. And for 2 Dark and 2 colorless, Break Ground does 130, which is pretty powerful. Of course, it does 10 to each of your benched Pokemon. Good way to get around that would be just to put a Mountain Ring in play. Any benched Pokemon will not take any damage at all. Now, the real power comes in the form of Mega Tyranitar-EX. Another Dark type with 240 HP. First of all, the Theta Double Ancient trait says this Pokemon may have up to 2 Pokemon Tool cards attached to it. And Destroyer King, for 2 Dark, 2 colorless, 110 damage plus. This attack does 60 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. What this means is, let's say you hit a Pokemon 1 turn with Destroyer King, 110 damage. If that Pokemon stays active and Mega Tyranitar-EX uses Destroyer King again, the opponent has 11 damage counters, 11 times 60, that's 660 damage in addition to the 110. This Mega Tyranitar-EX is going to be doing 770 damage to a damaged opponent. This Mega Tyranitar-EX is... Now, the term overpowered is thrown around a lot, you know. I'm going to say it really applies to Mega Tyranitar-EX here. And just think, you can even give it 2 muscle bands to do an additional 40 more damage. That would just be insane. So, this thing has a weakness to fighting type Pokemon. I strongly recommend, if these things start hitting the field quite a lot in the new standard format rotation, try and get some Furious Fist packs. They have a lot of good fighting type boosts, like the what is it called, Fighting Stadium and Strong Energy, and just try and get some muscle bands from the base set as well, because like we're going to want to try and take these things out as soon as we can. All you got to do is have a fighting type that can do 120 damage, times 2 for the weakness. You're going to knock this thing out in 1 hit. Now, to go along with this new Dark type edition, we have a new special energy, Dangerous Energy. It can only be attached to Darkness type Pokemon and provides Darkness Energy. Whenever the Darkness Pokemon this card is attached to is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon EX, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, put 2 damage counters on that attacking Pokemon EX. Now, there's been similar energies like this, I believe, or at least similar items.
This is somewhat limited in the sense that it's only going to do damage counter recoil to an EX Pokemon that hits you, and it only can be attached to a Darkness type Pokemon as well. So if you're going to run a Darkness deck, this might be a good energy to put in, but if your opponent isn't using EX Pokemon, the special effect of this is kind of it's not even going to come into effect. Like, it's only going to do damage counters to EXs. So, interesting energy to try to run. It's going to be somewhat of a drawback, though, if your opponent is using Aegislash-EX, which prevents all damage done to it by Pokemon that have special energy attached. So in that sense, perhaps Aegislash-EX might be a good counter to the new Mega Tyranitar, if people are running the Darkness energy, or the Dangerous energy. So that is Mega Tyranitar-EX and a couple of new cards from the set, and I'm hoping to have a whole lot more new cards to show you as soon as the theme decks come out tomorrow.
And one final thing, as we end off this video, I do have another couple of random booster pack openings. Might not be as interesting to some people now that we've got like a set that is 7 expansions later coming out than one of these here, but I'm still trying to collect a full set of some of the earlier expansions just for my own collecting purposes. In that sense, we do have a X and Y base set and X and Y Flash Fire. Let's see what we get out of them. So 2 booster packs to open up here. We're going to start with the X and Y base set. I still haven't gotten any of the Mega Pokemon out of the base set yet, so let's see if today is my lucky day. Starting off, we have a Pansear, Staryu, Swirlix, Fletchling, and a Kakuna, which is uncommon. I think I mixed up the order of the cards here. So if you get a Fairy Garden, always good to get free retreat for your Pokemon with Fairy Energy attached. And Sableye, Tauros, which is the rare of this pack, with good takedown, 30 damage, and it does 10 to itself, and then Seething Anger. You flip a coin for each damage counter it has. This does 30 damage for each heads. Imagine damaging it to a certain point and giving it a trick coin. You're going to be able to do a lot of damage with this. I'm going to say that's probably the rare, so let's flip this one instead. And we get the reverse foil Pansage. Nice and fancy looking. Now, I think those are the 2 rares, so this is a common. Yeah, Chespin. Alright. So we're going to open up the Flash Fire. I didn't cut that right. There we go. And if I can actually get the cards, we'd be in set. There we go, we'd be in business. So it should be uncommon, 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 reverse foil, rare. Alright, let's see if it works this time. Get a Bergmite, an unfocused Bergmite, there we go. And Sandile, Litleo, Duskull, and Roselia. And we have Roserade, Startling Megaphone to discard all of your opponent's attached tool cards. Torkoal. Reverse foil card shall be a nice and shiny Shinx here. And the rare of this pack will be Dredagon foil card. So 110 HP, a dragon type Pokemon. For 2 colorless. Revenge does 20 plus. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this does 70 more. And Dragon Claw for a fire, water, and 2 colorless does 80 damage. Interesting thing with attacks like Revenge here, it says if any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack. Now, I've seen this happen sometimes where one of your Pokemon might faint to poison between turns. Technically, that doesn't count as damage from an attack. It's poison damage. So I've seen people try to attack with Revenge only to do 20 damage as opposed to 90. So that's something to watch out for when using Revenge. Alright, so those are the booster packs, and that's the end of this week's video. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll catch you next time.